Hi everyone, welcome back to the Fuji Guys channel. I'm Gord of the Fuji Guys. The Fujifilm X-H1 carries on the tradition of outstanding still image photography from Fujifilm, but it also expands dramatically the video capabilities. In this video I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the top video features available on the Fujifilm X-H1. If you're interested about finding out more, stick around. As mentioned, the X-H1 features an improved selection of features compared to previous models, including the fact that it shoots in DCI 4K, which is a 17:9 aspect ratio. It shoots in either 24 or 23.98 frames per second, which are standards for videographers. You can actually adjust the bit rate from 50 megabits per second to 200 megabits per second in 4K. To do that, you would go into the video menu when you're in the video mode, and you choose the movie mode, and then from within there, you choose the frame rate as well as the megabits per second from 50 to 100 to 200 megabits per second. There's also the ability to record full HD movies in up to 5 times slow motion. To do that, you push the menu button in the movie mode and then jump to full HD high-speed recording. From within there, there's about 6 or 7 different choices from 2 times normal speed to 5 times slower than normal speed. A quick way to get into there is to assign that capability to a custom function button. To do that, you would push and hold the display back button, which brings up all the menu of all the different custom function buttons that are available. You choose whichever button you want to assign it to, and then from within there are 6 pages of different options that you can choose from to assign a custom function. In addition, there's Eterna film simulation. Eterna was a motion picture film that was very well respected by cinematographers, and that same effect is created with Eterna film simulation. When you're shooting with the dynamic range set at 200, you can get 11 stops of dynamic range. If you turn the dynamic range to 400, you actually get 12 stops of dynamic range when you're shooting video. There are a number of different video options when it comes to the X-H1, including internal recording and external recording. If you are going to be attaching it to an external HDMI recorder, included in the box is the tether cable lock to be able to attach your HDMI cable securely to the camera. In addition to the film simulations, there's also an F-log or flat profile that's available. If you're using an external recorder, it records an 8-bit recording in 422. If you use now the internal recording, which is actually capable of, you can record at 420. If you have a multi-camera setup and you want to have the capability to have all of your clips line up properly during post-processing, you'd want to use the timecode capabilities of the camera. A quick way to be able to do that is to have all the cameras set for exactly the same time. And to do that, you can actually use the Bluetooth capabilities of your smartphone and transfer the time from your smartphone to each of the cameras one at a time. Very quick and easy to do. If you go into the camera menu, you'd want to go to the setup menu, and then to connection setting, and then to Bluetooth setting, and then to pairing registration. If you don't already have the app installed on your phone, there's a QR code that shows up on the screen to be able to scan that with your phone, which will take you to the appropriate place to download the app for your device. I already have the app installed here, so I would start the app and then go to pairing registration. There's some communication that happens through Bluetooth initially. I then choose which camera I want to pair up with my smartphone. There's additional communication that happens from within here, at which point I push OK. And now I have the choice on my camera to be able to select and accept the time from my smartphone. I just hit OK from within there, and I'm good to go on that side of things. Once I've done that, then I need to go into the movie setups to be able to go to the timecode setting, which is actually on page 4. And from there, there's a few different choices from within, at which point we'd also then would suggest probably you'd want to go with either free run or record run. Free run would be, because it's keeping time, that might be the best solution for a multi-camera X-H1 setup. So I go to free run, and then once I start recording my movies, there's actually some extra information that's embedded in the clips that allows my image editor like Final Cut Pro to be able to line all the clips up properly. The X-H1 offers the ability to record 4K videos utilizing face detection autofocus to track people's faces. When you do that, it actually automatically puts the camera into continuous autofocus mode, even if you've got the selector lever set at single autofocus point. To change and turn on the autofocus for face detection, you would want to go to page 3 of the movie menu. Top item there is to be able to turn the face detection on or off. A tip would be to assign that capability to a custom function button. So again, push and hold the display back button to be able then to go through my various choices, choose button I want to assign that capability to, and then on page 2 is where I'll find the face and eye detection. In the case of 4K movies, it's only the face detection that kicks on. If you're wanting to, then you actually have the ability to change how fast the autofocus will track any given subject. That's where you'll find on page 2, you have the autofocus custom settings specifically for movies. And there are 2 options within there, the tracking sensitivity, and you actually have 5 different options from within the tracking sensitivity. As well, you have the autofocus speed, how quickly it moves from one to the other, and there's actually 11 different choices from within there. There's also the ability to have the autofocus ring be either linear or non-linear. Just like with stills, you could have it where it automatically speeds up depending on how fast or slow you turn the autofocus, the manual focus ring rather. That's actually located within the button dial setting, and you'll find that on page 2 is where you'll find either non-linear or linear. Where you'd want to choose linear is if you've got a 2 position where you want to choose back and forth between 2 positions. As you rotate the lens and then rotate back, it ends up exactly back where you started when you're using the linear. For non-linear, again, the faster you turn the lens barrel for focus, it will move the focus point faster or slower depending on the ratio that you're working with. The X-H1 has in-body image stabilizations. That allows you to have handheld situations using a non-stabilized lens and getting up to 5 stops of image stabilization, depending on the lens that you're working with. There's also a sub-monitor on the top of the camera that you can customize and put exactly the information that you're wanting to. There's 2 different settings, one's for stills and one's for video, and they work totally different depending on what mode that you have the camera set into. To change what information is displayed on the top dial, you would want to go to the settings, to screen settings, and then you'll find on page 3 the sub-monitor setting, and you can then choose between still mode or video mode, and then from there customize the screen to exactly the way that you'd like to have it set up. It also offers seamless recording, so it does have the 2 card slots, and as you're recording into card slot 1 when you're working with sequential, you will automatically switch over to card 2 without a gap within there, similar to how the movies are recorded within the cards. There's also a tally light, so your talent can tell whether or not that you're recording, and it actually turns on on the movie mode. You actually go to page 4 of the movie mode, and that's where you'll find turning the tally line on or off, and you can actually have it where it's set to either the front or the rear, so the operator can then tell. If you're in a dark situation and the front tally light's a little bit too light, you can always put a little piece of tape over top of the light to help to dim that down so it doesn't affect the exposure. There's also the ability to have a silent operation, so it really, when you're in a quiet situation, and you can actually turn that on or off. Turning that on is done through page 4 of the movie settings, and you turn that on. Once you've turned that on, it disables the shutter speed as well as the aperture and the ISO dials of the camera, and that's all now controlled through the touchscreen. You'll notice there's now a secondary touch portion, and you can actually choose many of the different functions within there very silently to be able to make the changes during the recording and not have to worry about any noise from the camera operating. Those are just a few of the new features that are added to the video segment side of things for the Fujifilm X-H1. Hope you enjoyed. If you should have any questions about this video, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Be on the lookout for my other video where I concentrate more on the still side of things for the Fujifilm X-H1. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter at Fuji Guys, look for us on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, I'm Gord of the Fuji Guys. Thanks for watching.